Hello, this is Jennifer Allen, and I'm recording a video showing how I have created just a little weaving with some extra paper supplies that I have. I glued my strips at the very bottom there, and then I'm just taking these leftover pieces of scrapbooking paper, and I started out with just gluing the edges, but then I realized I might want to cut this apart, kind of like a master board, and I thought maybe if I can glue them all along the way, it'll hold it together. This was not as easy. If you've ever done a pie, maybe you've done a lace, a lattice pie top. I've never done that, but now I appreciate it's more complicated than it looks. But I was watching Joie de Fille create some neat bands on her channel where she used a sewing machine, and I thought, my sewing machine is not set up. I'm really a novice at sewing, and I don't know how long it would take me to get back into that groove. I haven't done it for, oh gosh, over a decade. So I thought, what could I do? So I started messing around with all these that I had just cut off yesterday to use in some projects. And then I thought, oh, it would be so neat to have this with a book page in the background. I have all these book pages to use up. So I really just used papers from the same paper pad because that's what I had been using to create my traveler's notebook junk journals. And so you could use whatever papers you have lying around. I thought maybe in the future I could use even some pieces of book pages. It could be really anything. And I know that these are not necessarily exactly parallel, but you can see that it's kind of fun to just decide what you want to use, try different things out. The paper pad was interesting for me because it has some color combinations that I would not have necessarily put together. So, like putting that pea green with some pinks and some oranges and some navy blue. I wouldn't have necessarily put together that color palette, but I like it, and obviously the designers know what they're doing, so it's kind of neat to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes a paper pad can do that for you. I have been getting tons of inspiration lately watching Joie de Fille, watching her videos. If you are interested in making junk journals, I highly recommend her channel. She takes you step by step and lets you in on her thought process, which I really appreciate. I personally appreciate it a ton in junk journal or any type of crafting video or instructional video of any type. I like to know what the artist is thinking, and I like to see their creative process, but also have someone who really takes the time to explain how to do things, and she has lots of great videos. So I've been methodically working through her videos, so I really have to give her credit for tons of inspiration, and hopefully I can show some of what I've made. I've actually done several attempts on videoing, and the biggest hurdle I think was figuring out how to place my camera, which is just my iPhone. And I finally rigged up, you can maybe see two wooden legs toward the top of my cutting mat, and those are a wooden stool, and I was able to rig up my tripod kind of horizontally on the wooden stool legs, and then it still wasn't high enough to give you perspective of the entire cutting mat, so the whole work surface. So then I ended up stacking a second wooden stool, and these are some heavy stools on top of my table. So two wooden stools stacked on top of one another, which is a great setup. I think I can recreate it fairly quickly, and then I can disassemble it when I have to hide all of my stuff for when my 2-year-old comes home. And the reason I've been crafting like mad this last day is that my 2-year-old, after I did some I needed to do some professional development to end out the school year as a teacher. And so she got to go see her grandma, and she hadn't been in physical contact with my mom for 2 entire months because of COVID-19. So she is at grandma's house and she has not come home. So I'm calling it grandma camp. So since she was a newborn, my mom has been taking care of her 2 to 3 days, or 3 days or more a week, every week her entire life. So to not be able to give grandma a hug for 2 months was really hard. And so because I had that professional development, and because I knew that my mom needed it and my daughter needed it, that's where she is, and they are having a wonderful time. So my mom asked if she could spend the night, and then she asked if she could spend the night again. So I'm ready if I need to hop in the car and go get her if she is starting to feel homesick, but if not, she'll spend the night tonight at grandma's house again. So I'm really glad that they get to do that. They have that time together. It's really heartwarming. Kind of brings a lump to my throat just thinking about that. And we didn't take that decision lightly. We did it with a lot of prayer, because my husband is I've been working from home, but my husband is back at work full time with lots of people around him, and so that was something that we considered very carefully before we decided that it was an okay thing to do. Now I'm going to tear off these edges, and I start by doing it with my ruler, but I think after a few, I hope that didn't tear off too straight, and some of them maybe are a little straight. So I start tearing with my hand, and then because that paper edge is already torn, but then the top is a straight edge, so I went ahead and cut along the top. And then I'm trying to think, okay, what would I do with this? So give me a comment in the comment section. What would you do with this? How would you use this? Would you make it into tags? So I'm thinking you could make some tags. I'm wondering about folding it, but I don't think the glue is set, so I don't want to try to fold it. So I resist that. And finally, I decide, let's go ahead and cut a tag. And so I get out my cutting mat, and I realize that some of the paper strips are, oh, here I am. Will it work here? Can I put it here? How do I want to do this? Will it fit in that pocket? So I realized that the paper strips along the bottom are keeping it from sitting straight on my cutting mat, which is going to give me a really crooked cut. So I have to take it back and cut just the bits of those paper pieces were messing up the line there. So, and I don't really want to cut it across any of the lattice pieces. I decide I'm going to try for 3 inches. So I measure 3 inches there, but then I don't want to cut that piece. I don't want to cut across the paper strip or down the paper strip. So there we go. I don't know if I could get, one more set out of that. And I think about cutting the corners to make it into a tag, a journaling tag. I think about putting it here. I really love setting it there, so I think I might glue it right there. How cool is that? I really, really like that. I even think about making it half of that length and gluing it there. So I'm really liking that. I'm loving some of this. Or it could be a cover item. It could be a feature on the cover. There's another idea. So I start to just put it in my book, and this is the great thing to do as you're starting to embellish your junk journal, is you just, how do you get a new idea? Well, take this item and just place it some different places and see what you think. Could it go here? Could it go here? Could it go here? So I think my favorites are to use it as a tag, or to use it, glue it right there as kind of a pull out, like a sticking over the edge, or It could be the cover. I think those are my three favorites. So the one, it doesn't work as well as a tag because those cross pieces do catch as you're putting it in the pocket. What would you do? What are some ideas? Where do you think you would? I couldn't bring myself to cut it. So I'm looking at what would it be if I put it here and cut those at a 45-degree angle to make it into a tag. And I almost did it there. And I'm still thinking, so I'm undecided. So I would love to come back and show you what I've decided. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a wonderful day. Stay safe and be well. God bless you.